Barcelona new star, Chutian's legendary rise begins. Episode 171, Suarez's amazing barb. Allegri's change. Suddenly, the passing line has become a little bleaker. It turned out that Buffon had already predicted Chutian's passing intentions. Chutian did not hesitate to start adjusting his position. The inner instep kicks to the bottom right of the football. Football with a violent spin. Over the penalty area at Juventus. Draw a beautiful arc. Chutian's feet. Drawing a rainbow, Buffon will face the test again. When the football is about to approach the goal, it is in a hurry fall. The experienced Bazzari and Chiellini did not judge the correct point, the landing point. In positional warfare, he wanted to tear apart the powerful back line of Juventus. Must use the ultimate pass. Make it hard for the opposing defender to judge. At the same time, it is inevitable to make our striker difficult for him to judge. Suarez has wandered into the restricted area. He has all the attributes of a perfect center. It seems to be an innate hunting instinct. Let him just show up at the end of the football. No matter how the trajectory of the soccer ball in midair changes. Suarez was like hearing its breathing. He's an all-powerful top shooter. The goal could have made the blood start boiling before football was coming. He turned around. Back to the goal. Jump. Stretch your body. Lean back. Upside down gold hook. Syllable. Chutian's pass just landed on the back of Suarez's feet. Everyone in the room. They all heard a bang. The soccer ball is like a bullet out of the chamber. Boom at the goal. The moment of electric flint. Buffon had already predicted everything. He jumped sideways to the bottom left. The soccer ball also slammed into the bottom left corner. Time seems to freeze in this moment. Genius midfielder passes, top scorers, legendary goalkeeper saves. It forms a composition that makes people's blood boil. Pity. The soccer ball, which finally shattered this picture. Buffon's gloves didn't stop everything. The soccer ball with the lower arc, rubbing his 5 fingers off. Crashed into the goal. 2-0. Beautiful. Barca lead again. Perfect arc pass. Shocking upside-down gold hook. Wonderful save, top giants with 3 superstars in different locations. At this moment, they came up with their best performances. This is a powerful goal for us. That's great, Suarez. Never spit out the pie. He's already a mature striker and will try to get close to the pie himself. He can score goals on all parts of his body. Chutian is fighting in position. Sent a pass that tore through Juve's defensive group, and only MSN can receive. Buffon. This reaction, this prejudgment. No, it's just that I'm older, and my body movements really can't keep up. Oops, the home fans in the stands were quiet. They couldn't believe it. Juventus, one of the best defended teams in Europe, would have conceded 2 goals in the first half. Buffon looked lonely. Pick up the soccer ball from the net. He doesn't admit at all that he's old. From the Champions League group stage all the way to the semi-finals. Juventus have only conceded 2 goals. Suarez excitedly grabbed Chutian's shirt cuffs. Grinning excitedly. Chutian. Your pass is amazing. If only there were no arc swirling. Buffon will definitely block the ball. Barca's teammates gathered around and celebrated. Messi smiled and gave the thumbs up to the 2 goal scorers. Chutian revisited in his mind. The fluent series of attacks just now was partly due to the chemical reaction in Barca's midfield to break through Juventus' backline so quickly. In the defensive system built by Allegri, those veterans, if they are a few years younger, Barca may not be able to score so easily. No matter how strong the tactical system, it depends on the players to execute. Beep. Beep. The referee blew the whistle at the end of the first half. There were no substitutions in the first half, few fouls, and even close to normal time spent in Barca's back-footed. Therefore, the referee team did not give time for injury time. Enrique is full of spring breeze. This first half, it was so surprising. 2 valuable away goals. Dinkyu shouted several times before he reacted and walked towards the player's path. Allegri looked sad, holding the tactical board, looking down and thinking. First half ended 2 o'clock. It was a score that no one could have imagined before the game. Barca's possession rate has reached 81%. Most of the game was a bit dull, but it created 2 incredibly wonderful scoring moments. It's a pity Juventus hit the crossbar. Let's take a break and come back in 15 minutes. Enrique knocked on the tactical board and shouted, everybody is doing great. Barca had a really wonderful first half. At the same time, we must also be careful of the miracle of Istanbul. Without Pirlo and Tevez, Juventus are now attacking single. But we should also be defensive. We've got a huge advantage. Our goal. It's the Champions League, say the words. Enrique couldn't help but think, both teams, at the beginning of the season, were also experiencing core departures, Xavi and Pirlo. If Barca had not excavated Chutian, they may not have gone further than Juve in the Champions League this season. Juventus dressing room. Allegri is not a coach like Pep Guardiola, who is close to the players. Nor is it Mourinho's kind of coach, who is very strict with the players. Nor will it be like Enrique and Zidane, who spend all day talking about goals and champions. He was busy talking to the coaching team about tactics. Buffon and Balzagli, Chiellini inspire their teammates together. That's what Juventus has been in the locker room for the last 3 seasons. Pogba sat in the corner. Complex thoughts. I was also wondering, why didn't the coach talk to himself? Super geniuses aren't stupid. He already had in his mind the first half of the game. 2 goals conceded in the first half, although not directly related to themselves. But his negative attitude has definitely had an impact on the team. Pogba has calmed down, he wants to win, he wants to advance to the Champions League final. End of intermission. Both players return to the field. Juventus kick-off. Morata sent back to Marquisio. Neither team has made personnel adjustments. Hey! Juventus has changed 4-3-3, is Allegri going to give it a go now? There is another round of matches. Xavi and Higuaín looked at the big screen in surprise. Lichtsteiner retreated from midfield to the back position. Pogba mentioned the position on the left side. Too bold. Pogba playing left wing? It's the left insider. He is also top-notch in this position. Pogba can do anything, really fake. I still saw it for the first time. A left winger who is a meter tall. Juventus, who are 2 goals behind. At this point, it does not appear impatient. They changed the previous concise offensive. In midfield, close to the left rib, a delicate pass is made. Cuadrado and Marquisio. All at the service of Pogba alone. Barca was very responsive. Rakitic grabs from the outside. Matic pressed from the inside. Pogba immediately knocked the ball back. At the same time, quickly drilled through the gap between the two. Cuadrado touched the ball with 1 foot and struck Marquisio across. Marquisio took the pick. The football crossed the heads of Rakitic and Matthew. Pogba neatly lifted his heels and stopped the ball with ease. Start, launch. Run to the Barca penalty area. The audience cheered. Simple and efficient, 3/2. Pogba doesn't show off anymore. He's starting to pass the ball. Dig the grooves. Pogba is serious. Allegri found Pogba's instructions? This is a monster. Why is he in this shape? You can also make such a beautiful heel stop. Short-haired version of Shaluo. Pogba dribbled to the left side of the penalty area. Turned and leaned on Busquets, who wanted to grab it. Don't look up. Don't observe. Send a provocative pass on your back. The ball jumps to the right side of Barca's penalty area. The ball is extremely fast. Dybala looked up slightly. Familiar rhythm. Familiar ball speed. Awakened his sense of smell in front of the door and desire to shoot. Why is he so slow? I can play as the main striker at Juventus. Because within 5 steps. His startup speed is the second fastest in the world. He threw off Mascherano. It's time to land. 3 steps to catch the ball. 2-step adjustment. Heading towards the Barca goal. Boom, a blast. Evening. Episode 172, the Zebra Legion's counterattack. Messi air stamps back. 3 steps to catch the ball. 2-step adjustment. Dybala's footsteps were ghostly. Kicker. Boom. Ter Stegen looked nervous. He quickly opened his hands. Bend down and make a save gesture. Dybala's shot was too fast. Can't let the Barca goalkeeper judge the direction of the shot. Danger. Oops. The soccer ball is attached to the turf. High-speed swing. Drilled through Ter Stegen's crotch. The Barca goalkeeper has no way at all. Roll in the goal. 1-2. The crowd cheered. Beautiful. The ball is in. Not just Pogba. Juventus has another talented shooter. Dybala, wonderful back passing. Wonderful crotch knocking. Juventus pulled back a goal. There's still time for the game. There is still suspense in the victory or defeat. Dig the grooves. Dybala's archery is awesome. Dybala's appearance is very in line with the Oriental aesthetics. Very handsome, but Europe thinks he's ugly. Ha ha ha. His advertising endorsements are all from Asian companies, although short, slow speed, rough right foot. But he has a super sense of smell in front of the door, one-on-one ability to get rid of it, and superb archery, and after taking the ball, within 5 steps. Second in the world. Who is the first in the world? Oh my happy beans. How could Juventus have scored more than 3 goals? Stadium side, Enrique couldn't help but get nervous. At the start of the second half, Barca was pulled back by Juventus. Pogba's personal abilities. Too strong. Juventus, if they stick to the way he plays with him at the heart of the left winger. The Barca manager has no way to do anything. The other side. Allegri looked bitter. Although he saw hope, he couldn't laugh. He knew the team had only been caught off guard by Barca's back line. Pogba's left wing position kick has not been practiced at all. There are still big drawbacks. Juventus players did not celebrate. Dybala strode across a look of loss at Ter Stegen. Pick up the ball from the net. Quickly run back to the middle lap. The Juventus fans in the stands sang the team song. Forza Juven. Oh, 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 Fino Elephant Forza Juventus. The smallest home of the top giants. At this moment, it seemed to burst out of infinite spiritual power. The home fans saw hope for an equalizer. The race reopened in circles. Suarez kicks off. Pass back to Chutian. The formations on both sides immediately dispersed rapidly. Chutian's got perspective. Juventus formation is a bit chaotic, with the frontcourt players being a bit aggressive after the goal. They want to score the second goal in a hurry. Morata rushed up. The defensive pressing action is very blunt. Chutian did not feel too threatened. He turned and pulled the ball. Easy to get rid of Morata. Barca began a smooth pass. Morata stall holders continued to run towards the line of football. Morata is very positive. It's a pity that Mandzukic is injured, and if the two of them form a forward partner, the lethality is very large. Mandzukic should be able to play in the second leg. Duan Xian and Hiwei are really good at talking. Morata looks like a big center. Cows are tall. It's actually very soft. Very afraid of physical confrontation, super big parallel goods. The national team is super god. Club super ghost. I also wonder, Morata in the club so dish. In the national team, it is like a god, Neymar. Every time he returns to the national team, he is really a god who blocks and kills God. Buddha blocks the killing of Buddha, with the Juventus midfield in the panic. Barca's pass quickly tore through the middle of the opposing side's middle and faced the back line. Barzagli pressed his hands desperately, signaling his midfielders not to mess around. Messi retreated to the middle road. Marchisio and Cuadrado followed, and when there was no ball, their task was to keep an eye on Messi. Suarez and Chiellini pushed and shoved each other, and with every pass from Barca, the two were engaged in a fierce physical confrontation. Uchiha was also given special care. Lichtsteiner and Hedira clung to him. Barca's main offensive advance at this time is composed of Rakitic, Iniesta, and Chutian. Chutian dragged in the last offensive position. Pogba stuck to him like a brown candy. In God's perspective. MSN crazy run pull. 3 men with 5 defensive players on the opposite side. Barca's pass and control style of play has been restraining Juventus' defensive system in recent years. Over time, the veterans' physical exertion has also been very fast, and Juventus' backcourt has been a bit chaotic. Side. Allegri roared madly, don't mess around. Triangle stand defensive. Triangle stand defensive. In his opinion, the team's kind of people-staring defense is very dangerous. His voice was quickly drowned out by the huge noise erupting from the stands. The 55th minute of the game. Chutian carried the ball to the top of the large arc of the penalty area. Pogba was in hot pursuit. Khedira and Marchisio also gave up their eye on Messi and rushed over. The chaotic backline made Chutian's vision light up a passing line. He sent a straight kick. The soccer ball quickly passed under the feet of the crowd. Tear up the entire back line. Iniesta was wiped from Balzagli's side. Got the ball in the penalty area. The fans in the stands exclaimed. It's too easy. Precise passing. Spiritual running position. Iniesta confronts Buffon. It's too close. Buffon breaks to adjust the pace. Wayan's body is like a wall in front of the Juventus goal. At this time, Chiellini also had his hands behind his back. Blocked in front of the goal. Iniesta took a small step with the ball. Kicker. Foot arch push. Call. Everyone was nervous. This ball has it. The soccer ball is like a black shadow, crashing into the far corner of the goal. Buffon prejudged the right direction. Fall to the ground early. At the door line. Block the ball out. Beautiful. The crisis has not been lifted. Messi. The ball popped out of the box. At the drop point location. Chutian blocked Pogba with his back. Tiptoe the ball smoothly. The ball flies to the right side of the penalty area. This pass was wrong. There are no Barca players there. The opportunity to attack a second time is wasted. Courtside. Enrique Stallholder, Chutian never makes mistakes, and it is normal to avoid mistakes once. Allegri frowned, he felt something was wrong. There was an exclamation in the stands. The football is about to slide out of bounds. Messi, who had been dragging Cuadrado in the middle of the road. Out of the sight of everyone. The camera moves. Messi magically showed up and stopped the ball on the right side. No one knows how he got there. You have to watch the replay to know. Messi's position during this time is the free man in the front. Messi stopped the ball with his right foot. Instantly show the world's unparalleled cadence. Take fantastic dance steps. Break into the Juventus penalty area. Who can stop Messi? It's all happening so fast. Buffon fell to the ground and just got up. Another fierce attack. Messi, every time Messi gets the ball. I felt like I was going to score. How did Chutian sense that Messi was going to kill him? This ball is so good, why are you typing so fast? Cuadrado realizes it's too late. He reached out and grabbed the corner of Messi's coat. Would rather get a penalty for a foul. Nor can Messi score this goal. Barzali immediately fell to the ground and put the shovel down. Next moment. Everyone held their breath. Hiss. The hem of Messi's jersey was torn out of a piece of rag. Pick the ball gently. The whole person straddles. Slipped over Barzali's slipper. Beautiful. The ball is over. What a human ball combination ability, there is no stagnation in speed. The ball fell to the ground. Messi's whole body tilts to the right. Empty buckles. Left foot touching the ball. Everyone's hearts are tight. Buffon's pupils shrunk. He couldn't even tell where Messi was striking. Messi's left foot kicked in the football. Is it rubbing or mouth ejaculation? It is a rubbing belt buckle. Rub football rises off the ground. In a weird arc. Aim for the Juventus goal. Buffon immediately threw himself back. But didn't work. The ball is too fast. Messi. Messi-style classic shot. Buffon fell to the turf. Almost enough football. Football from top to bottom. Crashed into the top left corner of the Juventus goal. 1-3. Absolute dead end. This is Messi. This is the ultimate double pride. His footwork. Just execute the tactics, it was wonderful. Barca lead again. Chutian's secret pass. Messi's empty buckle shot. Wonderful. Episode 173, Defeat the Zebra Legion. The National Derby is coming again. Duan Xian and He Wei were very excited. Since Chutian joined Barca. Every game the duo explains, there will be no shortage of wonderful goals. Even a sleepy team like Juventus, after meeting Chutian's Barca, the game will become extremely fierce. CTV5 Live Room. The big screen plays back the goal just scored. It turned out that Messi had been interspersed in front of him, trying to participate in the attack, and Cuadrado was in hot pursuit. Chutian before passing. Messi is pulling right on the road. What is this vision? Chutian's competition reading ability is too strong. Messi's consciousness is also very strong. I haven't seen Messi's kick in a long time. Horror. Juventus would have scored such a big score, much like last season's Champions League matchup. Chutian's foot passing. I thought it would be out of bounds. It turned Messi into an assist. Side. Enrique raised his fist in excitement. His mood was like a roller coaster. Vinco hugged the players on the bench. Barca not only took the lead but also scored 3 away goals. It's getting closer and closer to the door of the semifinals. The other side. Allegri rubbed his face and glanced at the bench, looking dejected. He could not think of any countermeasures. This season, Juventus, after experiencing the departure of the core, is not as lucky as Barca. Their reform is too difficult. Barca found Xavi's successor, but Juventus failed to find Pirlo's successor. Pogba is strong, but the world doesn't know his correct usage. Messi ran forward and gave Chutian a hug. So far in his career, there are not many recognized players, and Chutian is the best one in his eyes. Messi and Suarez, Iniesta, and Busquets also surrounded excitedly. All the Barca veterans, in a trance, are back in the middle of Harvey's existence. The referee is urging Barca to finish celebrating. No. He was telling Messi to hurry up and change his shirt. It turned out that Messi was in front of the goal, and the shirt was scratched by Cuadrado. This startup speed is horrible. The race reopened in circles. The referee blew the whistle. Juventus' young midfielder is becoming more and more chaotic. Pogba, after receiving a pass from Marquisio. Push from the left again. This time, Barca are already on the lineup. Rakitic pressed Pogba. Busquets is ready for the card slot in his own half. Pogba was undaunted. He was a super genius, and although he was still very young, he didn't take Rakitic in his eyes. His one-by-one ability. It's top-notch. Cuadrado has begun to plug in the front of the sleeve. Marquisio also responded. The duo are ready to escort Pogba again. Rakitic put the shovel. The timing is right. Pogba did not covet the ball. 1 foot obliquely passing. Passed the ball to Cuadrado on the wing. The explosion head trembled. Cuadrado was dashing to stop the ball as he tried to push at high speed on the flank. Suddenly discovered. A short figure stood in his way. Not Matthew. It's Mascherano. The two have met several times in the Copa del Ramada. Mascherano is a defender who specializes in all kinds of bells and whistles. Cuadrado's advance was blocked. His upper body shook wildly, but unfortunately, the other party did not react at all. His feet swung quickly over the football, and the opponent still did not react at all. Cuadrado's fake movements are very rhythmic. It's a pity that Mascherano doesn't eat this set. Laughing to death, is Cuadrado dancing in front of Mascherano? Why does he laugh when he plays? I also found out, he was laughing all over the place. Neymar. Still laughing 2 balls behind? Cuadrado is still great in this game, whether it's attacking or staring at Messi, he doesn't carry the pot. Don't look at Cuadrado smiling so happily now, his childhood was a tragedy. Laughing boy luck won't be too bad, Juventus strong. Come on, after a few swings. Cuadrado quickly gave up. Push with your left foot. Pass the ball to Marquisio, who is coming over. Syllable. Football in the line. Suddenly, a black-haired figure appeared. Chutian cut off the ball. Wonderful interception. Chutian's ability to read the game is also very great in the role of defense. He's getting closer and closer to the midfield master. This half a season, Chutian's growth rate is too fast. Every game, let people see his progress. Chutian is really playing football with his brain. Duan Xian and He Wei got excited and began to boast. No way. Chutian's offensive organization ability and lethal pass ability were too strong and too strong. The two commentators found out Chutian's other advantages. Must be boasted. Cuadrado looked sluggish. His passing, no problem. Force, speed, line, it's perfect. Marquisio's location is no problem. How did Chutian break the ball? Juventus' attack on the left flank, centered on Pogba, was temporarily suspended after the ball is broken. In God's perspective, Chutian did not find a good opportunity to attack directly. He knocked the ball across to Busquets. Iniesta also retreated from the front. The three of them passed the football unhurriedly. Allegri looked helpless. If the 3 Barca people start to fall on their feet, Juventus really can't do anything. Time passes by minute. The football is smoothly passed in the Barca midfield. Chutian, Busquets, Iniesta. The transmission control technology under the feet of the 3 people is the top in the world. Keep touching the ball. Adjust your position slowly and slowly. It's like a dynamic triangle. Pogba ran desperately back and forth, like a puppy being walked. The first time he was on the pitch, he felt so powerless. This pass is so stable. The basics are great. The cooperation of these 3 people in Barca is too tacit. It's like an old friend who has played football together for more than 10 years. The tacit understanding between Chutian and La Masia seems to be innate. Juventus couldn't grab the ball at all. Barca's passing, in the eyes of Barca fans, is like art. In the eyes of Juventus players and fans, it is desperate. They lost the ball completely. Barca, who are 2 goals ahead, also do not continue to attack. Buffon looked at the midfielder. He seemed to see the peak dream second team, and he seemed to see the peak dream team. Barca's Yenghua teenager controlled the rhythm of the game, controlled the time and space of transmission, and controlled everything on the court. It's exactly the same as when Harvey played. However, Juventus had Pirlo, Cannavaro, Nedved, Piero, Trezeguet. The first leg of the victory and defeat has surfaced. Time passes by minute. Juventus' back line has been solid. Not as flustered as the midfielders. This also made Chutian give up the idea of speeding up the attack. Beep. Beep. The referee blew the whistle at the end of the game. The Barca fans in the stand 727 are screaming wildly. Forca Barca. Vamos Barca. They have seen the team step half-foot into the Champions League finals at the Miazza Stadium. Enrique and Allegri shook hands. The latter walked into the players' aisle with no expression on his face. Juventus players sitting on the pitch in disappointment. The home fans in the stands did not leave. Instead, he sang the Juventus team song. Interprets the voice of the Zebra fans, accompany the team until the end. Buffon took off his gloves and patted Chutian on the shoulder. Laughing, "We still have a chance, the next round, Camp Nou goodbye." The two exchanged jerseys. Chutian also had an extra pair of goalkeeper gloves on his hands. Congratulations to Barca for winning the first leg of the Champions League semi-finals. Chutian shot 2 passes. Helped Barca score 3 away goals. His performance was wonderful. The MVP, best player of the game. It's still Chutian. His rating is close to 10 out of 10. Can Chutian create the history of Yenhua players? What about lifting the Champions League Golden Boot? Let's play in the next race. See, Champions League Golden Boot? I didn't count. How many goals did Chutian score? Dig the grooves. I'll count right away. Chutian did not score a goal when he abused the dishes in the Champions League group stage. The Copa del Rey final is also about to start. Who to play in the Copa del Rey final? Kick Real Madrid. Bale is healed. Real Madrid is the main force. Bale, don't get hurt when you play Bayern tomorrow. 666. Another national derby. That contest at the beginning of the season. So cool. Episode 174, The Troubles of the Puskas Award Selection Panel. Post-match press conference. Enrique was in a very happy mood. A reporter stood up and asked, "Mr. Enrique, I am a reporter for the Milan sports newspaper. Compared to Allegri, this game you seem to have done nothing. Not even the replacement quota is useless." Chutian helped Barca win the game. Milan Sport has always been known for its poisonous tongue against teams outside Serie A. The subtext is obvious: your Barca manager is a dog crown. Enrique smiled, calm and confident. When your team has Chutian and MSN, your coaching ability will be overshadowed by their talent. They are the best players in the world, especially Chutian. His performance is too eye-catching. Chutian helped us gain a huge advantage in the first leg. Juventus are in trouble, and I'm sure the second leg wasn't an easy game either. But back at Camp Nou, victory will eventually belong to Barca. Barca's goal. It's the Champions League, the other side. Allegri appeared calm. He said slowly, "We still have a second leg of competition, and the semi-final duel is not over. We still have Mandzukic, and by that time Juventus' attack power will be very different. Now this Barca, for Juventus alone, is much scarier than it was last season. In last season's Champions League, we faced Xavi, who is close to 40 years old, and this time, we faced the young Chutian. Football is round and anything can happen. In the second leg, Juventus will beat Barca at Camp Nou. Everything. It's not over yet. July is coming. UEFA headquarters, the office building in the town of Nyans, is busy. The selection expert group of the Puskas Award is very troubled. Perono, the leader of the specialist, walked in and urged, "Why are you moving so slowly this year? Our job only needs to nominate 10 best goals, and the rest is up to the netizens to vote. I read the newspaper and know that Bell's upside-down gold hook. See, Ronaldo pressed the head of the trio. Wonderful enough. Definitely able to nominate. Can't you choose this yet?" Voting by netizens does not determine the best goal of the year. The final result is still to be unanimously decided by the expert review. In 2015-16, there is no doubt that the credibility of the Puskas Prize is still very fair and just. The experts smiled bitterly. It's not that they can't be selected, it's the genius of Barca. His wonderful goals are too many. Maybe the top 8, the top 9 will be him. Perino frowned. Of course he knew that Barca's Chutian was very powerful, but how the first 8 would be him. He walked over to the computer, shook his head, and said, "How is it possible? Let me see the preliminary results you screened." If a player were nominated for 8 or 9 best goals, the Puskas Award would lose credibility. The expert clicked on the video. Barca vs Atletico, Chutian fired a super blast 40 meters from the goal. Batistuta heavy artillery shot. Polino nodded and said, "Very wonderful long-range shot, very beautiful and powerful. This goal can be included in the nomination. Very similar to the best goal of 2009. I remember it was Cristiano against Porto and fired a similar long-range shot. The video continues to play. Barca vs Roma. After two people in a row, Chutian Marseille spin back and then fired a super blast. Polino's expression was slightly surprised. This is not bad, Chutian is indeed a super genius. He is so young that he can score 2 goals in the nomination. The expert shook his head, it's not over. La Liga National Derby, Real Madrid at home to Barca. Picture. Barca won a free kick. Chutian stepped back more than 10 meters and began to help run, and the line of the run was a curve. Come to the ball and make an exaggerated shooting posture. Then, a fierce nuclear bomb shot was fired. Carlos Gentetsu Ape. Pareto's eyes widened. Strong free kick? This is it. This shot must be nominated. It's too tough. This picture is shocking. Is that enough? Isn't it? He was so young and nominated for 3 goals. It's amazing. With that, he was ready to turn and leave. The expert nodded. Leadership, wait, and... Perino hesitated for a moment. He remembered the flying immortals outside the heavens in the newspaper, and suddenly realized, flying immortals outside the heavens. Add it up and just go. The expert shook his head. Keep playing the video. Barca vs Leverkusen. Chutian came on as a substitute. Coming to the free kick penalty spot. Lateral booster. The inner instep of his right foot exploded with a rainbow-like full moon machete. Shell arc? It's so beautiful. Perino was stunned and muttered, how can one person master 2 extreme free kicks at the same time? Of course, this goal must also be nominated. Anything else? The expert nodded and cut through the railway. Also, next. Perino is going to faint. Dream Dance Steps have scored several goals in a row. One knife rush. The pendulum scores and passes. Bottom line location. Break the goal at 0 angle under the bag of 2 defenders. The best part is in the Champions League quarterfinals knockout rounds. Chutian at the last moment of injury stoppage. Received a powerful cross from Neymar. The flying immortal from the sky that exploded. Perino looked sluggish. He was the first player to give the Puskas Award selection team a headache. Alright, let's all nominate it. 7 goals, fine. Syllable. The office door was suddenly pushed open. A staff member excitedly said, the material is here again. Perino took the newspaper and took a look. Century turn. Chutian salutes Cruyff. Cruyff turned and... Was it last night's Champions League semifinal? I drank too much and didn't watch the live. The expert quickly pulled out his mobile phone, searched for the video, and began to play. Chutian is facing the absolute blockade of the 3 Juventus veterans. The action is dashing and gorgeous. Every time you pull the ball, the timing of the ball is very precise. Not only did it dodge Buffon's flapping, and let Balzali, Chiellini lose their center of gravity. Finally, turn around and push straight through the empty door. This goal. It's unbelievable. Perino and the experts stared dead at the phone screen. The expressions of the two were frozen. How to choose this? Is he alone going to make nominations for the top 10 best goals? The season is not over yet. And the second leg of the Champions League semi-finals. Champions League final. La Liga Copa del Rey final. God knows if Chutian will still have more wonderful shots. Yengwa teenagers, let this year's Puskas prize become too difficult. Perino waved his hand, wait, it's still too late, we don't have to nominate 10 goals. 20 goals nominated. Bale and Ronaldo, Suarez, Messi, Neymar also have a lot of wonderful goals, and then study it. That's right. And that weird arc free kick from Malay Sabri, 20 goals nominated? Experts cry and laugh. Double the number of nominations for best goal this year? This will make the Puskas Award lose credibility. Perino shook his head, no, it is Chutian's performance that is too wonderful. Alone, he is close to winning 10 best goal nominations. Other players have also contributed a lot of wonderful goals. This year is definitely the most exciting year for the Puskas Awards. Midday. Barca training base. Chutian picked up the dry towel and wiped his sweat. Didi. The phone rang. It's Mino Raiola again. Chutian crossed the answer button on the screen, and he heard the short and fat man's impatient voice. Hey. My little genius. Another sky-high endorsement is coming, 30 million euros a year. Do you want to guess? Is this a luxury car brand? Luxury car brand? Ferrari asked Ronaldo to endorse by name. Lamborghini is in talks with Messi about advertising endorsements. Which luxury car brand will it be? Chutian didn't know much about cars. Which of the best-selling luxury car brands is that kind of supercar that only produces a few dozen a year, and you don't need to find a spokesperson, right? It's Bugatti Veyron. Bugatti Veyron that takes only 0.8 seconds to drive over a football field. How's that? Definitely worthy of your current grade, the short fat man laughed and fought. I'll pick you up right away. The other party asked for a signing ceremony first. Bugatti Veyron? The world's top supercar. Chutian did not understand what level this brand was. He had heard of a luxury car price terrier, not sure if it was true or not. One Bugatti Veyron equals 2 Rolls-Royce Phantoms, plus 2 Aston Martin DBS, plus 1 Lamborghini Bat. Episode 175 Bugatti Sky High Endorsement. The enthusiasm of a supermodel. Mino Raiola quickly arrived at the Barca training base and picked up Chutian. The two immediately went to the Matador National Advertising Branch in Bugatti. Yes, it just so happens that their advertising branch is located on the outskirts of Catalonia. Along. Chutian knew that the original Bugatti Veyron was only a model owned by Bugatti. Weilong is registered in Yenghua when the name of Weiheng. It is one of the best-selling models in Bugatti in the Yenghua market. The best model to sell? The minimum match is 25 million Yenghua yuan. Mino Raiola smiled and said, Chutian. Do you know? As of 2014, Bugatti Veyron has sold 250 units worldwide. However, Yenghua had Tuyu Tai Chutian a little confused. The short fat man immediately laughed and said, ha ha ha. Just kidding. This was a slip of the tongue of the president of Bugatti in an interview last year. All in all, based on the sales of all models in the whole Bugatti, Yenghua is their second largest market in the world. Chutian wondered, where is the first market? Mino Raiola laughed out loud, Middle East, of course. Those oil kingdoms, don't mention it. Those clubs in the Stone Kingdom still harass me all day long. Of course, they don't let you come to the contemporary speaker, but they don't think you are very close to the temperament of Bugatti Veyron. Since 2004, only 250 luxury cars have been sold in 10 years. They would have hesitated between you and Cristiano Ronaldo until you turned around yesterday in Cruyff in the Champions League semi-finals. Let the president of Bugatti make a decision immediately. The third generation of the Bugatti family, 473, are all fans of Cruyff. The two soon arrived at Bugatti's advertising branch in the Matador country. Located on the side of a depressed road on the outskirts of Catalonia. The exterior of the building is very abstract. It's like a white snail shell. At the top of the building, engraved with a huge Bugatti logo. Chutian walked into the lobby. Immediately feel the high-tech breath coming from your face. There is no imagination of luxury. Instead, all the display furniture, including the sofa, makes people feel that the white coat staff from the future row of scientific research style has come out. Is this the advertising department of a luxury car brand? How does it look like a high-tech research institute? Chutian. Superstar. Welcome. I'm Ham, headed by a man with a white coat and a beard. He held out his hand excitedly. Mino Raiola introduced, this is Dr. Ham, he is also Buga. Vice President of D Group, Dr. President? Chutian remembered that in his previous life, he seemed to have read the report that Bugatti's management was a group of doctors in technology. Followed by Dr. Ham led the two to an empty conference room. Chutian was shocked. The room is half the size of a football field. However, from the appearance of the building, it is obvious that the advertising branch of Bugatti occupies so much space. There was nothing special about the signing ceremony. Didn't even hire a reporter. It's just that the staff took out the camera to take pictures. Chutian shook hands with Dr. Ham. After the group photo is taken, Dr. Ham smiled mysteriously, Chutian. Outside the contract. We in Bugatti will send you an extra one. The short fat man swallowed. So sincere? Is Bugatti Group going to send Chutian a limited edition sports car? Oh, Dr. Ham took out a model Bugatti Veyron car. Mino Raiola. The short fat man was a little disappointed, but when he thought of the endorsement fee of 30 million euros a year, he had a lot of balance in his heart. Dr. Ham laughed and said, Chutian. This is our handmade car model. You must love it. Chutian took the exquisite car model and smiled, thank you doctor, I like it. Subsequently, Dr. Ham led the crowd to the advertising site. Chutian was surprised to find out. The director is an old acquaintance. When the Dragon was first filmed to speak for the company, the staff of the bearded director of the Red Wine Country also greeted Chutian kindly. Original team. Suddenly, Mino Raiola frowned and pointed to a girl in the distance. Dr. Hem, you Bugatti would ask a lady to speak for you. Dr. Hem laughed and explained, that's our only female spokesperson. The only voice of the night in the world. Sarah Sampaio. The sound of the night, this is the only one in the world. Mino Raiola whispered, isn't Sarah Sampaio an old woman who has been a? Dr. Hem whispered, same name. Dr. Hem continued, there was no consideration for her to partner with Chutian, but the director strongly recommended that the combination of Oriental charm and Western elements be said. This time, Sarah Sampaio came over. The figure is tall, and the gesture at every step is very beautiful. Mino Raiola said nervously, every step this supermodel takes, it's money. Chutian glanced at it, this female supermodel seemed to have seen it somewhere. Chutian. Glad we met again. Sarah Sampaio smiled slightly. Chutian also responded politely. He remembered. It's time to shoot a Victoria's Secret commercial. I've seen it once. Sarah Sampaio is also Victoria's Secret supermodel angel. Just changed the hairstyle. Chutian didn't recognize it for a moment. The director of the wine country stepped forward and said, you two talk first. Mino Raiola was displeased, time is money. My friend, Dr. Hem hurriedly pulled the short fat man aside, this is the style of this wine country director. He's an artist. The short fat man skimmed his lips. Sarah Sampaio's appearance fluctuates greatly. Hair bunches and shawls. Totally like two people. The 2015-16 year was the peak of her looks. The supermodel angel in front of Chutian's eyes. Very beautiful and moving. Long brown hair and a shawl. Breathtaking turquoise eyes. Chutian, I love watching your game, you are like a heroic knight on the court. Sarah Sampaio's voice is also full of magic. Chutian didn't know how to answer the phone. I had to say, I see you on TV and in the newspapers a lot. The next 20 minutes. Sarah Sampaio showed a strong interest in Chutian. Between the words were praise for Chutian. The whole person was also unconsciously getting closer and closer to Chutian. A supermodel angel of her level of value, she doesn't care about factors such as gossip and influence. Chutian felt very oppressive. For the first time, he felt the enthusiasm of foreign girls. Snap. High fives from the wine country guide. Signal the start of the advertising shooting. The shooting of the advertisement is surprisingly simple. Chutian and Sarah Sampaio not only did not have any intimate movements. And it's still far away. Strictly speaking, Sarah Sampaio is just part of an advertising background board where the protagonist is Chutian. The shoot ends. Mino Raiola was so happy that she was going crazy. Less than half an hour. Chutian recorded 30 million euros. He glanced at the humble Dr. Hem. Sincerely, it's a pleasure to work with Bugatti. Dr. Hem laughed heartily, the image of Chutian. It fits in with Bugatti's brand values. Remember to call me. I left you a card last time. Sarah Sampaio smiled softly. Chutian stallholder, I'm sorry, I can't see it. He really forgot where to put it, and after the last Victoria's Secret advertisement, he received a lot of small cards left by the Victoria's Secret angels. Sarah Sampaio was not angry, borrowed paper and pen from the staff, filled in her phone number, and stuffed it into Chutian, reminding, don't lose it this time. On the way back to the training base. Mino Raiola smiled evilly, my little genius. You're so popular. It's not a female star, it's a female supermodel. Just now. Sarah Sampaio looks at you and just wants to eat you. Haha, her assistant also asked me for your personal number. I gave, she must be trying to have a secret meeting with you. Then have an in-depth exchange. Chutian shook his head helplessly. This agent is good at everything, but he always expects to become a stallion. A big commercial for Bugatti came out. Sensational worldwide. Among the 5 major leagues, the most gossipy Serie A media has fresh material. Countless scandals between Chutian and Sarah Sampaio spread across Europe like erotic novels. Chutian quickly received a call from Elsa. Explained simply. The candy country girl calmed down. The two met a few days later. The Copa del Rey final is about to begin. La Liga media are frantically warming up for the second national derby of the season. Barca vs Real Madrid. Episode 176 Real Madrid vs Bayern. Night visits of supermodel angels. Yangue. Chutian participated in the filming of the Bugatti advertising campaign. Channeled on the hot search. At the same time, it is ranked first in the ranking of several major short video platforms. Picture. Aerial view. Passionate BGM. Roaring engine sound. A Bugatti Veyron starts racing through the majestic mountain passes. The sky is full of dark clouds, thunder, and lightning. At last, this top-of-the-line sports car stops at the end of a mountain pass, between a cliff. Chutian and Sarah Sampaio got out of the car. The howling mountain wind blows up Sarah Sampaio's black skirt. Times ugly. The camera gives a close-up of the faces of the two. The screen was frozen for 3 seconds. The lens is stretched again. In front of the two. Beyond the cliffs is a magnificent view of mountains and rivers. The number of likes, comments, and retweets skyrocketed. Chutian is awesome. Bugatti is looking for him to speak for him. I'm too bold. Dare to see Bugatti ads. This kind of top sports car, once born cannot afford to buy, then it is difficult to afford in this life. This car, so big. So white. So long. You're not right. Who is this female star? Sarah Sampaio. Top supermodel. I searched. It's ugly. Not advertised for this. You search, Sarah Sampaio. The world's most profitable top supermodel. It's night. Chutian ended his training early. Back to the first team quarters. Turn on the TV. Sports is streaming another Champions League semi-final, Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. The two sides are fighting against each other. The scene is very intense and exciting. A sea of white in the Bernabeu stands. Real Madrid fans are roaring like a tsunami. Hala Madrid. The football is constantly being intercepted and stealed in the backcourt of both sides. Then quickly counterattack. There is no moment of dead ball garbage time. In the 2015-16 season, the overall style of these two teams was fast soccer. It can only be described with that word. Fast. Not the pace of the Premier League. It's the tone of the whole game, it's fast. Chutian watched for a minute or two. The line of sight is inseparable from the big screen. During this time, he read the notes of Cruyff and Beckenbauer, and although he could not completely absorb and eliminate them, he gained a new understanding of game reading and tactical systems. All tactical systems are based on the ability and style of players. Otherwise, just like Juventus, no matter how strong the defensive system, after the player's age, they will be easily attacked by the powerful MSN combination. Large screen. The real commander of Real Madrid is undoubtedly Modric. He spared no effort to run all over the field, and at the same time, he was also directing his teammates. Real Madrid's players in all positions have shown great personal ability. Benzema is diligently doing the fulcrum role. Bale stormed the Bayern defense again and again on the left side. Ronaldo is also ready to burst into the penalty area, trying to create opportunities to change the score on the other side. Bayern. The 2015-16 true peak cosmic team. Guardiola commanded passionately on the sidelines, fingers flying, and various gestures. This is his unique coaching style. Micro. I wish he could go up and kick himself. I wish it was a live game that could control 11 Bayern players on the field. Robben and Ribéry did not play. The players on the front line are Lewandowski, Müller. The competition is intense. But the score hasn't changed yet. Chutian found. Mourinho's tactics, he could not understand. Pep Guardiola's tactics, he also can't understand. It is definitely not a tactical system that can be parsed in words on the surface. Guardiola, very thin. So fine that Chutian couldn't tell the real location of Alaba. Ding dong. Not a system tone. It was the doorbell that rang. Chutian had a strange one. So late, who will come to find themselves? It won't be an outsider. There are a lot of Barca security guards on the perimeter of the first-team dormitories. There is absolutely no way that teammates and club staff can bother themselves at this point. Mino Raiola will only look for herself in the morning. Chutian opened the door. It's Elsa. He smiled in surprise and said, "Won't we meet again in a few days?" The Candy Country maiden did not speak, and she hesitated. Call. The door was closed. The Yen national team and the Candy national team have launched a fierce duel. The Candy national team temporarily repented. Want to give up the game. The Yenhua team is not spared. The Candy national team had to comply. The competition officially begins. Candy national team center kickoff. A change from the weak style before the game. The offensive was fierce. The 13th minute of the game. The Yen national team launched a counterattack. The midfield of Candy Nation collapsed. It's like playing match fixing. No defensive attitude at all. But the back line of the Candy Country is extremely tight. Very determined. It will not be easy to let the Yenhua team succeed. The two flanks are also contracting wildly. Over the stadium. It was pouring rain. The Yenhua team launched a crazy siege. Candy Nation goalkeeper is covered in blood. Subsequently, under the crazy attack of the Yenhua team, the rain is getting heavier. Rain. The stadium's radio also shouted. Suddenly, a great flood came. Flooded the stadium. Match 45 minutes. After several great floods. The last moment of the first half. The Yenhua team has finally broken through the door of the Candy Country. Goal. On the TV screen, Real Madrid took the lead in breaking the Bayern goal. Get a 1 o'clock lead. After the goal, Real Madrid players are just starting to celebrate. The referee blew the whistle at the end of the first half. Intermission. Chutian asked, "Why didn't you call me in advance?" Elsa frowned slightly. "Why did you call you in advance?" "So why don't you tell me in advance that you'll be partnering with Sarah Sampaio on commercials?" Chutian stalled and explained, "I only learned about it when I went to the advertising department in Bugatti." Only then did he realize that girls all over the world are the same, and after becoming familiar with them, they will soon reveal their nature. The second half of the game started quickly. The Yenhua team continued to launch a frantic attack. This time, Candy Nation's backline is also playing match fixing. Completely abandoned the game. The flood is getting worse. Flooded the entire stadium. Show nothing, the end of the game. Real Madrid 2-2 Bayern Munich. The first leg of the two sides was played into a draw. Bayern reaped the advantage of 2 away goals. Step back from the Bernabeu. In the second half, Bale extended the advantage of the score. Lewandowski scored 2 goals in a row. Until the end of the game, both teams have run out of substitutions. Robben and Ribéry still did not make an appearance. Quite a few players cramped. It can well be imagined how intense the competition was. To the good news of Real Madrid fans, Bale was not injured this time. Zidane had a dignified expression in an interview when he said, "The Copa del Rey final is coming. Barca had an extra day off and we did. This is very bad for Real Madrid." Guardiola had a relaxed face. "I am honored to be at the Bernabeu again. It's a tough game. It's too hard to beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Back at the Allianz Arena, the situation will be very different. Bayern are confident that they can go to the top." The other side. Barca first team quarters. The second half of the Yenhua team and the Candy team also ended. Elsa suddenly asked, "Am I good looking? Or is Sarah Sampaio good looking?" Send propositions. Whatever the answer is wrong. Chutian did not answer immediately. Elsa smiled and did not continue to ask. She flew to Barcelona at Milan Fashion Week, after seeing the scandal fabricated by the Serie A media. Hesitated for a long time. Only then did the decision be made. Of course. All her negative emotions now vanished. The next morning, Elsa left Chutian's quarters in the first team. Countless paparazzi who have waited all night, crazy. Get rich. Big news. It's definitely a sensation. I knew I was going to get rich last night. Your reaction arc is really slow. Don't go over. Hey. Run. Barca security guards are back. Come on, soon. One piece of news caused a sensation in Europe. Barca genius nightclub supermodel, the Copa del Rey is coming. Depraved and indulgent Barcelona genius, football and love. A fairy tale of Barca genius and supermodel. Break the gossip. Dedicated Barca genius. The attitude of the La Liga media to this event is very contrasting. Marca newspaper uncharacteristically supported Chutian. The fans were crying and laughing. Chutian found out. After these news exposes, Sarah Sampaio began frantically texting and calling herself, and the content scale was getting bigger and bigger. Even India, who had long since broken off contact, resumed her bombardment of her own information. He really can't understand the brain circuits of these female stars and female supermodels. Episode 177, the Copa del Rey final starts. La Liga Pinnacle Showdown. The Copa del Rey final is coming. Barca vs Real Madrid. The much-awaited National Derby. La Liga set the final venue at the Calderón Stadium in Madrid. The entire Matadora country's commercial buildings, bus stops, large public LED advertising pages, all replaced with absolute double-pride photos. Printed with photos of Messi and Ronaldo, Chutian and Modric's gaze. All public advertising media resources are warming up this showdown. The Catalan newspaper and the Marca newspaper have also launched a confrontation. Since it is the Copa del Rey, the internal attack plan of La Liga is much more obscure than that of European battles. The feud, Real Madrid's revenge, Calderon's thriller. Barca genius is about to lift their first trophy. The final venue is set in Madrid, which is unfair to Barca. European Web Forum. Real Madrid fans took the lead in attacking. Real Madrid is invincible. Enrique and Zidane are incomparable. The BBC combination is much stronger than the MSN combination. The Royal Ceremony midfield is more experienced than the Barca midfielder. Didn't you watch the news? Chutian is in love. He's on the pitch. The feet must be soft. Barca fans quickly launched a counterattack. Have you forgotten the tragic memories of being chased by Chutian for 3 consecutive balls? Barca league points ahead of Real Madrid by 15 points. La Liga champions are out of the picture. Don't even think about the Copa del Rey. Chutian's feet are soft. Beating Real Madrid is also enough. We also have Messi. And Iniesta. We have MSN. Barca will beat Real Madrid. Pick up the King's Cup. Real Madrid training base. Zidane and assistant coach Bettoni looked sad. They studied Barca's recent match footage last night. Draw conclusions. The Barca team now is even more terrifying than half a year ago. Chutian's growth is also very terrifying. The two couldn't think of any way to balance him. Zidane shook his head. He's stronger than any player I've ever met. Gifted and has unlimited potential. Bettoni suggested, I think I should play against Barca. Chelsea and Juventus have already given the answer. No matter how strong the defensive system, it will be broken by Chutian. Zidane nodded. Distance. Casemiro said, the last duel was when I was too careless, and this time I will keep an eye on Chutian. He thought the last national derby, it was a disgrace. A large part of the reason for losing is that they are light enemies. During his return to Real Madrid, Casemiro's arrogance has been tempered by the intensive schedule. Modric nodded and did not speak. Continue to do passing exercises with your teammates. He was thinking, Chutian is much stronger than half a year ago, and even Barca's veteran has been inspired to spring for the second year. However, in this half of the season, the Real Madrid lineup is also getting better and better, and the winning side is not small. Bale said, if Barca stick to the 3 center-back system, their side road pressure will be great. If you can't keep an eye on Chutian, I suggest you don't press too forward, because the attack will be handed over to Marcelo and Carvajal. Then there will also be problems with our defensive wings. Marcelo quickly interrupted, don't talk, we listen to the coach's arrangement. For most of the season, Bale's gunpowder between the locker room and Zidane has also become heavier. Especially when Real Madrid can't open the game at halftime, Bale will not hesitate to point out tactical problems. This made Zidane difficult to accept. Fortunately, the master of metaphysics has a hard life. Bale, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ramos have contributed multiple killer goals. Bale came from the Southampton Academy and received a systematic tactical rationale from an early age. Unlike La Masia, this academy is more like a school bully, instilling knowledge of football concepts in children from an early age. Bale's ball quotient is particularly high, and under his leadership, the Red Dragon national team has also created many historic records. These years have been very good. This made Zidane very disliked. Bale was difficult to control and had frequent injuries. What Bale said makes a lot of sense, but the coach should have thought of that too. Luo suddenly spoke. The crowd nodded. Luo is not the first captain, but he seems to be a natural leader in the team. Varane was injured and unable to play. But the crowd didn't worry too much about the backline. Because Real Madrid still has Pepe. At this time, Pepe twisted his neck and smiled, I'll let the young Barca player know. What is the real Real Madrid backline? On the day of the race, Duan Xian and the reporters of CTV5 also came to the banks of the Manzanares River. On both sides of the river, there are many people. On one side is the red and blue jerseys. On one side is a white jersey. Audience friends. Hello everyone. This spectacular building behind me. It's Calderon Stadium. Tonight's Copa del Rey final will be played here. At the same time, this stadium is the home of Atletico. Its real name is Estadio Manzanares. In 1971, in honor of the greatest club president of their history, Vincent Calderon, and renamed Calderon Stadium, there is no restriction on the sale of tickets for this game. The stands are divided into 4 areas. Barca fans, Real Madrid fans, neutral fans. Both teams have no home and away advantage here. Live room. Fans are also talking about it. Why is the Copa del Rey final here? Because this is the 3rd 5-star stadium in La Liga. The Copa del Rey is a single-leg match. A game is a winner or loser. so choose the middle position. The first two pentagram fields are Camp Nou and Bernabeu. I heard that the Yengwa Foundation has invested in Atletico. A project is underway to build a new stadium, not a project. It is almost built, it has been built for more than 10 years, that's right. Probably next year. Atletico are moving to a new stadium. Duanshian walked on the shore and met a group of Barca fans. He immediately said hello, took the photographer with him, and walked over. Hello, what are you expecting from the Copa del Rey match? A Barca female fan looked at the microphone that came close to her and said, blankly, I think Chutian should find a girlfriend of the Matador country, and the objects of his gossip are the girls of Britain, Candy, and Grape country. Why is there no Matador state? He can spend the night with the Candy country girl, why not find a Matador country girlfriend? I think. Duanshian quickly drew the microphone back. Thank you. I am glad that you have encouraged Chutian, the Barca female fan is saying. Barca has Chutian sure to beat Real Madrid, his smile is blunt. This is the live broadcast of CTV5. Although the Barca female fan speaks Spanish. Haha. Laugh me to death. Is this the style of the national derby? Is there a big god to translate it? What is this female fan saying? Use the dragon for the phone. Watch the live broadcast and translate the subtitles literally. Hahaha, how much money did the dragon give you for the phone? My rice phone gives double. Duanshian quickly met a group of Real Madrid fans. With the lesson of the last time. He stepped forward, cautiously. Didn't expect the attitude of this group of Real Madrid fans to be very friendly. I'm a Real Sociedad fan. I'm a fan of Real Betis. I'm a Real Mallorca fan. I am Royal. Duanshian was surprised and asked, then why are you wearing the Real Madrid jersey? The fans were thrilled, this moment. We are Real Madrid fans. 666. The club of the royal prefix, the fans are really united. Why do their team names have the word royal? Let me explain, there are 18 football clubs with royal titles in the Matador state, most of which invite the king to become honorary president and receive the title of king, and a small number of which are managed by the Royal Football Association. No wonder it's so united. Wouldn't it be that Real Madrid has home advantage? This is Madrid. Of course, there are more Real Madrid fans. Local Barcelona fans in Catalonia have to fly more than 600 kilometers to come over. 5.6. Night is gradually falling. A convoy drove into the Calderon Stadium. At the front of each car, there is the emblem of the 10 kingdoms of bullfighting. Duanshian introduced, friends in the audience, this is the royal motorcade of the Matador Kingdom. Copa del Rey final. Their kings and royals will also watch this game. No, it won't. The royal car of the royal family of the bullfighter country is so shabby. Not as good as our village chief's car. The news does not say that their royal car is Rolls-Royce Phantom. No. Squandered by the old king. The old king is awesome. More than 1,000 lovers. Countless illegitimate children. Spend money on water. The current king is very low-key. The royal family of the Matador Kingdom is the oldest royal family. And the poorest royal family. Hahaha, they're princesses, the cars are all old Mercedes. The winner of the King's Cup will be summoned by the royal family. Chutian certainly has no interest in these. He has always been very cold to foreigners, no matter what royal family you are not royal. Followed by club buses from Real Madrid and Barca also drive into the Calderon Stadium from different entrances. Copa del Rey final. Coming soon. Episode 178, Marshall Monk Pepe. All-round midfield genius. Pre-match press conference. The atmosphere is tense. The images expected by the journalists did not appear. Enrique and Zidane glanced at each other. Just when the other person doesn't exist. It didn't spray each other like last time. A reporter asked the Barca manager, Mr. Enrique, I am a reporter for Marca. Recently, there have been many scandals about Chutian. Will this affect his performance in this game? Will he be like Balotelli, just a flash in the pan in Europe? Enrique's face darkened, and he said loudly, I hate those hateful paparazzi and unscrupulous media who make up gossip to win attention. Whatever the truth is, I won't interfere in the love life of a super genius. All I can tell you is that Chutian's game is in very good shape. He trains very hard every day. He is a very disciplined player. Why don't you report on this fact, Balotelli? I don't know him. Let's focus on this final. The other side. Zidane smiled. A reporter stood up and asked, "Mr. Zidane, I am a reporter for the World Sports newspaper. I would like to ask you, many Real Madrid legends, as well as professional analysis media, say that you do not have any outstanding tactical system, even the substitution strategy. The on-the-spot response is very unreasonable. What do you think of this statement?" Zidane's face darkened, and he was displeased. "I don't agree with this view. Since I took charge of Real Madrid, my results have steadily improved. Have you seen our Real Madrid matches? Don't take the 29 to believe those rumors." The reporter did not hesitate. "I have seen Real Madrid matches, even if you face the relegation team. It is up to Ronaldo to create opportunities at the last minute. Kill match. Far less than last season's Real Madrid." Zidane tried to restrain his anger. "I hope you take a good look at the next game. Real Madrid will beat Barca. Pick up the King's Cup, Player Channel." The players on both sides looked straight ahead. Cold face. Barca and Real Madrid are mortal enemies. The atmosphere of the sword is suddenly broken. Modric greeted Chutian warmly, in a small voice, but everyone heard it. The two look like old friends who have been friends for many years. This is highly inconsistent with the atmosphere of the national derby. Many media also compared the two to crossing the age, and the midfield was absolutely proud. "Chutian, I've been paying attention to your game, your progress is too great," Modric said sincerely. Chutian smiled. "I am also watching your game, and Real Madrid's offensive and defensive rhythm is getting better and better." What he said was the truth. Modric is on the pitch and is the real electric field conductor of the dry horse. When Real Madrid can't open the situation, spectators across the screen, even if they can't hear Modric's shouts, can see his frequent gestures in the game, and Real Madrid quickly opens up the situation and creates a threat. Only occasionally, in the direction of attack or defense, Zidane's roar can cause interference and create a poor information, so that Real Madrid has seemed to stumble in the league this season. Speaking of Zidane, it was also a coach that Chutian couldn't understand. Most of the season has passed. He has done very well in charge of Real Madrid. The game scene is very heart-wrenching. It doesn't show his coaching ability at all. Adversity depends on Ronaldo, desperate situation depends on Ramos. Many Real Madrid fans are very dissatisfied, but the team's results are good, spit Zidane. "But I won, I really don't know how to spray." That is, since 2016, on the Yengwa network platform, Zidane has been called a master of metaphysics. Heart of life. More Yengwa fans have written a lot of analysis. Zidane, Real Madrid's first coach in history. Zidane's tactics are extremely high-end. You don't understand, everything is in Zidane's hands. The killing is no accident. It is inevitable that under Zidane's tutelage, Luo is getting stronger. Chutian recalled his past life. Zidane later entered the palace twice and ruled the Real Madrid again, but the metaphysics disappeared, and the later Zidane made the four major dry horses empty. Therefore, Chutian thought, Zidane's ability must be very strong. But not at the tactical level, more on the off-field ability to hold the locker room. Dare to put Ronaldo, who is worth €80 million, on the bench, regardless of Florentino's ideas, pressure Bale. Forced rotation of Ronaldo, so that Ronaldo get full rest. If you can't kick it, then let Bale out and decide the game. For example, the super god Bale in the 2018 Champions League final. Chutian withdrew his thoughts. Modric didn't go on to say anything either. Pepe, who was at the end of the line, looked at Chutian's back and didn't know what he was thinking. The referee team led the players from both sides out of the aisle. Moment. The whole Calderon Stadium boiled over. The stand, which can accommodate more than 50,000 people, is divided into two halves. On one side is a sea of white, red and blue fireworks on one side. There are quite a few neutral fans in between. Hala Madrid. Forca Barca. The moment Chutian stepped onto the green field, the system sound quietly sounds. Ding. Mission trigger, Copa del Rey champion. Mission, the host helps the team win the Copa del Rey and completes the mission. Quest reward, mysterious chest. Mysterious chest? Chutian was slightly stunned. During this time, he trained every day, even ignoring the existence of the system. "I have saved a lot of match points, but there is no lottery yet." CTV5. CTV5. Good evening to the audience, friends. Welcome to this Copa del Rey final. Barca vs Real Madrid. This is a contest representing the highest level of the bullfighter nation. If Chutian picks up the King's Cup today, it will also create the history of Yengwa football. Both teams are very strong. Both reached the semi-finals of the Champions League. The level of this match will not be inferior to that of the semi-finals of the Champions League. I am the commentator of this competition, Xavi. I am He Wei. On the pitch. The referee put away the coins. The two referees ran to their respective halves. The players on both sides are also in good positions. War. Imminent. Here's a look at the starters of both teams in this game. Real Madrid is still in a 4-3-3 formation. Goalkeeper, Navas. Defender, Carvajal. Ramos. Pepe. Marcelo, midfielder, Modric. Casemiro. Cross, striker, Bale. Benzema. See Ronaldo, what about Varane? Last time the national derby, his defense was too good. 1 against 2. What a shock, Varane is injured. Thigh muscle strain. But there is nothing wrong with the Real Madrid backline. Pepe is also very strong, Martial Monk Pepe. In fact, the ability is very strong. Pepe and Ramos are the only two players in 2016 who have experienced a decade of development and evolution at Real Madrid. Won all the clubs in the Bernabeu, foot on Messi.jpg, Pepe spikes kick people.jpg, it's all bullet screens. Do you add a JPG to make people think it's a picture? Barca have adopted a 4-3-3 formation this time. Goalkeeper, Bravo. Defender, Alba. Peak. Mascherano. Alves, midfielder, Busquets. Chutian. Iniesta. Enrique did not discharge the tactics of 3 centre-backs this time. Rakitic and Matthew substitutes. The Barca coaching staff should be afraid of being overwhelmed by Bale, Marcelo, and Carvajal. Got it. Enrique is the dog crown, what does he think? Didn't show it. Zidane is pretty much the same. Master of metaphysics. 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I think, mainly Barca and Real Madrid, the superstars of the two teams, the personal ability is too strong. So there is no way to highlight the coaching ability of Enrique and Zidane. Don't wash it, Serie A Roma was so badly scourged. The ball is going to kill Enrique, don't wash up. Lobby Real Madrid B team, was brought by Zidane at that time to play the West Sea. The referee blew the whistle. The race is officially on. The grandstand roared like a landslide tsunami. Real Madrid took the lead. Benzema passed back to Modric. Real Madrid players press forward quickly. Modric receives the ball and pushes straight ahead. Zidane's favorite kickoff kick. Hey! Modric and Chutian. Right again, Chutian did not get out easily. Even during this time, he added both steals and defensive attributes to 80. He relied on God's perspective. Stuck in Modric's advance. And prejudge Modric's ball line. Chutian is very clever. Location card is good. The distance was also kept nice and didn't give Modric a chance to get rid of it. Modric with a few more steps. Busquets is about to move. Rely on your brain to make up for the lack of personal defensive ability. Carvajal front plug-in. Modric didn't think much of it and split the ball. The lines and force of the pass are very precise. Chutian had already moved. It was Carvajal's direction. Although people don't have the ball fast. But Alves rushed over too. Carvajal just stopped the ball. It was snatched by the two Barca. Beautiful. Chutian's ability in midfield is becoming more and more comprehensive. Episode 179, the fierce duel between Pepe and Suarez. Real Madrid's fight back. There is nothing Carvajal can do. Chutian directly lifted his feet and hung the front field. In God's perspective. The crazy forward pressure of the Real Madrid formation, the gap left is very large. Is this a long pass attack? Too direct. It's the inner instep. The football rises off the ground. Spin violently. Fly to the right side of Real Madrid's second half. There was cheering from the stands at the Calderon Stadium. Everything came so fast. The opening was less than a minute old. Chutian completed the steal and launched a counterattack. Messi quickly ran to the landing point position. Ramos is in hot pursuit. Messi has no height advantage. Ramos is tall. The two of them took a few steps to the landing point of the football. Ramos leaps high. The soccer ball suddenly turned a corner in midair. Skewed towards the right ribs of the Real Madrid half. Ramos looked surprised. There was an uproar. Base-style arc pass. It's so elusive. Chutian now. The passing is almost amazing. The soccer ball bounced on the ground. Suarez got rid of Pepe, lifted his feet and easily stopped the ball. Beautiful. Open area ahead. Real Madrid's opening front pressure is too fierce. Barca got such a good chance. Who can stop the strong Suarez? Just as he was about to start the run, Pepe takes a few steps to catch up. The whole person crashed into Suarez from the side. Call. Twist your waist. Turn around. Bigfoot another step. Looks like kicking a ball. In fact, with the heel, vigorously bump into Suarez's support foot. Followed by. The waist and abdomen exerted strength again, and the whole person looked at Suarez again. Suarez fell to the ground. The moment of falling. Raise your elbow hard. Topped in Pepe's face. Pepe immediately covered his face and fell. The stands on both sides immediately erupted into violent boos. Real Madrid fans and Barca fans began to rage fiercely. Enrique angrily protested to the fourth referee. Zidane stall hands. Beep. Beep. The referee blew the whistle. Run forward and show Pepe a yellow card. Immediately concerned about the injuries of the two people. Pepe's foul is too big, although letting Suarez go in the past is a single knife. But you can choose tactical fouls. The physical contact between the two is very intense. Pepe also fell, Chutian, and Higuain's tone was a little worried. CTV5 live room. The big screen plays back the foul shot just now. The barrage flew up. Shaolin Kung Fu good. Shaolin Kung Fu is strong enough. Pepe a slap on the mountain. Suarez used Wing Chun. I think, if Pepe doesn't commit a tactical foul, Suarez will be single-handed. Is this called a tactical foul? It's like Puyol hugging Robin, it's a tactical foul. Pepe's bump and kick is a malicious foul. Suarez, this elbow raises, does not give a yellow card? Times referee. Blackus Real Madrid, Suarez is not a good stubble either. The year before the national derby, he soiled Pepe a lot under. Suarez is also more restrained at Barcelona, you see his previous matches at Ajax and Liverpool. At that time, his nickname was 7 Injuries Fist. Cold knowledge, before Suarez joined Barca, he was banned for more than 30 games, true-cutting the first place in the 5 leagues in 2013. You found no, Pepe's ability to turn around and chase back is fast. In fact, Pepe has a strong defensive ability, otherwise how can he play the main force in Real Madrid for so many years? On the pitch. The referee pulled out the foam spray. At the foul site, a U-shaped white line was drawn. Real Madrid goalkeeper Navas suddenly remembered Chutian's powerful free kick and couldn't help but feel nervous. Better to let Suarez go it alone. Barca got a nice free kick up front. The penalty spot is 27 meters away from the goal. Chutian's free kick is currently the first of the 5 major leagues. Real Madrid were dangerous, with Chutian and Messi standing in front of the free throw spot. Messi covered his mouth and was saying something. Chutian glanced at the goal and nodded. In front of the Real Madrid gate. Navas raised his palms, stooped down, and kept shouting at his teammates to adjust the wall. Real Madrid's backline has done enough homework to prevent Chutian's free kicks. In their eyes, Carlos's powerful free kick and Beckham's full moon machete are not invincible. Moreover, Chutian's running method was too obvious. Long distance assist, it must be Carlos's powerful free kick. A lateral assist 180 degrees perpendicular to a football must be a full moon machete. For both free kicks, Real Madrid stars have done their homework. Navas stood in the far corner of the goal. The Real Madrid human wall blocks the near corner. They are ready for everything. Benzema and Ronaldo are also standing on the human wall. If you are smothered by Chutian's powerful free kick, it will be uncomfortable. Real Madrid's human wall this time, lined up for a long time. Real Madrid players are not dead? Chutian went down with 1 foot. Will die, if Real Madrid can block the Carlos-style nuclear free kick. I will never watch Chutian's game again. Abandoned, if Chutian can't score, I give up. Never look again. What does it mean to assist every day? Not necessarily. Carlos's free kick, Beckham's full moon machete, and many people have blocked it. Otherwise, the Real Madrid Galaxy battleship at that time was invincible. This human wall of Real Madrid, the position of Navas, is to prevent Chutian's full moon curved knife and Xiantai heavy sword. If Chutian retreats more than 10 meters to help run, vigorously free kicks, the speed of the ascent is not so fast. Ramos and Pepe can grab the timeline and jump straight away. If Chutian runs laterally and the full moon curved knife, it is not good to kick. With the human wall close to 2 meters, there is little chance of hitting the inner corner. Chutian's free kick has been studied by Europe's top giants for a long time. Little Rourinho can be studied thoroughly, not to mention that Chutian only has 2 moves. Real Madrid is a supergiant. How could it be so easy to deal with? Chutian retreated more than 10 meters. Start running. Speed up slowly. Everyone was nervous. Real Madrid fans' hearts are pounding. They have not forgotten the fierce and terrifying nuclear bomb shot in the last national derby. Enrique clenched his fists and was extremely excited. Zidane frowned and stood restlessly. Arc run. Carlos-style free kick. Here we go again, every step of Chutian's run. It seems to be stepping on the hearts of Real Madrid fans. Ramos and Pepe looked determined. Chutian came to the ball. Swing your left leg. Body tilt. Everyone held their breath. Here it comes. Ramos and Pepe jump at the same time. Huh? It's not Chutian who came to take this free kick. The instep of Chutian's left foot was about to touch the moment of football. The whole person turns one span. Skip the football. The fans in the stands made a jumble of noises. Navas' pupils are slightly dilated. Ramos and Pepe, who have already taken off, look frightened. It's Messi. Messi has already helped run in advance. Keep a 45-degree run line with the penalty spot. Come to the ball. Messi's leg swing is not large. The body tilts slightly to the right. Call. Left foot inside kick at the bottom of the football. The Carmelian Stadium, in this instant, fell silent. Football with an indescribable line. Fast ascent. In midair. Turn into a black shadow. Skimming over a wall nearly 2 meters high. Navas, standing in the far corner of the goal, was completely unable to react. Crashed into the near corner of the Real Madrid goal. 1-0. The audience exclaimed. Beautiful. The ball is in. 100 steps through Yang. Chutian's feint. Messi's inside back arc free kick was. Barca made the start. CTV5 live room. The barrage is flying. Oh. The whole world forgot about Messi's free kick. Navas patronizes the defense of Chutian. I haven't watched Messi play a free kick in so long that I forgot about this man who kicked a free kick as a penalty. Don't be arrogant. See, Ronaldo will soon return to color. Sighed. Enrique clung to Winsu's shoulders. Crazy celebrations. Zidane was furious and roared wildly at the Real Madrid players on the field. Navas looked helpless. Prevent Chutian, can't prevent Messi. Modric fished the ball out of the net. Quickly run back to midfield. Inspire your teammates while running. Ronaldo looked cold and looked at the Barca goal. Carmelian stands. Half heaven, half hell. Barca fans cheered wildly. Real Madrid fans are silent. Messi rushed to the stands and celebrated wildly. Teammates rushed forward. Less than 4 minutes into the opening period, Barca scored a goal. The crowd also gave Chutian a thumbs up. His shooting fake moves, too realistic. The Barca players didn't celebrate for long. He was urged by the referee to return to the court. The race reopened in circles. Benzema passed back to Modric. Marcelo plugged in from the front of the flank. Modric escaped Iniesta's interception. Advance a few meters later. Pass the ball to Ronaldo. Real Madrid's fierce attack. Here it comes. Episode 180. There are still a few more contests of absolute pride. See, Ronaldo is moving forward at high speed. Marcelo sleeve edge front insert. Benzema middle road runs in parallel, always responding. They formed a crazy offensive combination. Push football high speed into the heart of Barca. Real Madrid's attack is too fast. Tough overall running ability. Busquets stuck in Ronaldo's position. See, Ronaldo did not dwell too much. Quickly pass the ball to Marcelo. Alba has been killed. Marcelo is dazzled with his feet while advancing with the ball. Calm shoulders. Crosspart twisting. Alba couldn't tell the other person's fake actions for a moment. Not much thought. He moved first. Marcelo pulls the ball with his left foot. Dodge Alba's kick. Easy to get rid of. The whole person panned the ball quickly to the bottom line. Beautiful. Marcelo's dribbling is very spiritual. His shoulders are too steady. It is impossible to judge the authenticity of the action. What does the shoulder have to do with fake movements? The relationship is very big, like Messi, Necho, William, Cuadrado. When they are superior, the shoulders are very confusing. Marcelo's dribbling is the other extreme, and his power point is concentrated on the waist span. Dig the grooves. So fast to the bottom line. Under the chase of Busquets. Marcelo takes the ball to the bottom line. Barca's restricted area is buzzing. Ramos, Bale, Cristiano Ronaldo, all crowded in the penalty area. Marcelo made slight adjustments. Facing the goal. Busquets forced in. Marcelo quickly snapped the ball. Shake off the angle of the cross. Call. Football rises off the ground. High-speed swing. Hang into the Barca exclusion zone. At this time, all the high points start to jump. Ramos leaned on peak. Jump high. Just in the direction of the landing point of the football. Marcelo's cross is not over the top. I want to find the front point directly. Ramos wants a header on goal. 057 knife guard Ramos. Barca is in danger. Wrong. Bravo's seat selection is excellent. Between electric flint. The football fell into the penalty area. Ramos gave up a direct header on goal. Instead, use your forehead a little. The ball bounces to the left of Barca's penalty area. Ramos chose to make the ball. Everyone was watching the lines of football. Peak is closest to the ball. He took 2 steps. Stretch your legs. Try Bigfoot to break the siege. Pity. It's late. A figure wearing the number 7 shirt of Real Madrid. See Ronaldo. Hit the ball first. No moments of adjustment. It wasn't even too late to see his shots. Only one sound is heard. Bang. Football is like an arrow off the string. Boom at the Barca goal. Bravo is too late to save. This tweet. Too much power. The angle is too perfect. It's too close to the goal. The soccer ball has burrowed into the net. 1-1. Beautiful. His way of scoring is not just long-range shots and headers. What a powerful no-ball running ability. What a sensitive sense of smell in front of the door. Cristiano. He helps Real Madrid. In less than 2 minutes. It equalized. Perfect super shooter. His sense of smell in front of the door. Startup speed. Shooting action. Everything was so beautiful. Ronaldo's goal is just 2 minutes after Messi scored the Real Madrid goal. This is a dialogue between the two proud people. CTV5 Live Room. The big screen plays back the goal. Cristiano Ronaldo did not participate in the top fight in the penalty area before Marcelo's cross, but detoured at the back point. The running position is very agile. Haunted. The barrage flew up. Good perverted ballless run. Terrifying point-grabbing ability. I said, why didn't Ronaldo fight for a header in front of the penalty area this time? In fact, the Barca backline has also made an air defense response, and Bravo's ability to destroy high-altitude balls in advance is also very strong. After Zidane came to Real Madrid, Ronaldo gradually became a point-grabbing scorer. All this is thanks to Zidane. Just blow hard. Ronaldo's time in Mourinho, Ancelotti has gradually developed in this direction, especially after the arrival of Bale. I said it. Ronaldo will soon return to color. Luo rushed to the vicinity of the Horn Flag district. Jump high. 360-degree turn. Floor-to-ceiling arms hem. The whole gesture is full of power. Shout out, shoo. This is Cristiano's most classic Siu celebration action. In the stands. The white ocean is like setting off a storm. Real Madrid fans cheered wildly. Cristiano. 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 Followed by countless Real Madrid fans, holding high the puzzle in their hands. Gradually. A huge jigsaw puzzle that appears in its entirety in the Real Madrid stands. Hala Madrid. Hala Madrid. Hala Madrid. Landslide, tsunami-like sound. Cover a burst of over. Both commentators couldn't help but get excited. It's Ronaldo. It's Ronaldo's avatar puzzle. It was spectacular. Real Madrid fans are already prepared. The Carmelen Stadium. It's like becoming the Bernabeu. Neymar. That's great. Real Madrid is awesome. Ronaldo is awesome. One more. Blow up Barca. Don't be happy too soon. What's the use of playing these? Barca fans, come to Madrid. More than 600 kilometers by plane. Supplies are hard to ship. Hey, don't argue. Luo and Messi are getting older, and the same duel between the two proud people is really watching one less game. This year, Luo is 31 years old, Messi is 29 years old, according to the average age of professional players retiring. They are all veterans. I don't know how many more years to watch. There is Messi and Ronaldo's La Liga National Derby. Sighed. Enrique's mood was like a roller coaster. Only happy for 2 minutes? Equalized by Ronaldo? The other sighed. Zidane smiled and began to shout at the players on the field, gesturing wildly. The race reopened in circles. The referee blew the whistle. Suarez kicks off. Back to Busquets. Real Madrid players pressed forward quickly. Busquets glanced at it. Chutian had been held close to Casemiro, and Modric was also stuck in the passing line. Busquets immediately passed the ball to Alves, who came from the sidewalk. This moment. Chutian had already thrown off Casemiro. Alves touched the ball with one foot. Send a sticky pass. Chutian turned and stopped the ball. From God's perspective. Iniesta, Messi, Suarez are all closely watched by Real Madrid players, and he can't find a way to pass the ball forward. Casemiro reacted quickly. Rushed over again. Modric was also quick to get involved. Chutian shook his heel. Pass the ball to Busquets. Benzema also retreated to participate in the interception. Busquets glanced at Kroos in front of him. Schuncher passed the ball to Mascherano. Real Madrid's midfield pressing ability is very fierce. Much fiercer than the first leg. You see, Modric is running and directing his teammates, and he's mobilizing the pressing pressure of the entire Real Madrid midfield. Vaguely formed a tactic of regional oppression. It makes it difficult for Barca to play the pass. Chutian and he weigh 2.5 buckets of water. When did you become professional? I thought he would say beautiful. Danger, ahahaha. In addition, Jean and Jean on the ESPN side of the guide said that this is relying on Real Madrid's strong personal ability to show the chain of high oppression. Yes. I also use my computer and mobile phone to watch 2 live broadcasts at the same time, hahaha. Jean is professional. Even in the stands, Chutian's girlfriend and gossip girlfriend could recognize it. Or Jean's explanation of the cow, you can't say that. CTV5 is strict. So Chutian and He are more restrained, and the audience of CTV5 is different, and most of the audience objects are the general public. Chutian and He can't talk too complicated, which has higher requirements for their interpretation ability. ESPN, the audience is paid fans. The style of commentary is definitely different. Modric has shown a very comprehensive ability. The perfect hexagonal midfielder. The defensive and intercepting abilities are equally good. He spared no effort to run all over the field. One side directs his teammates. Barca's midfield pass became very uncomfortable. Chutian stood back in position 4, and it was difficult to organize and sort out. What is more serious is that while the Real Madrid players maintain this high position of pressure, the backline is also very tight, and there is no chance for Chutian to launch a long pass to play the gap again. Modric is stronger. Especially under the premise of no ball rights, the midfield command and dispatch ability. Real Madrid players' strong personal ability also showed in this game that Barca's midfield players are very physically drained. Under this oppression, soon you will have to concede the ball. Pity. In the 2016 season, the most common picture of Real Madrid matches appeared. Zidane began the micro-exercise. He waved wildly at the players on the field. And growled, retreat. Fast retracement. Don't be knocked off. The movements of Casemiro and Kroos are stalled. Barca midfield. Got a respite.